Good morning, everybody. We are live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Hey, it's great to see everybody. We have an exciting show here today. I'm in a different spot than I usually am. My lighting is a little different here, huh? Well, big news. Big news. Lots of big news out today. One of the big news is that the big guy, Trump. How's that? Is that better? Trump is going to be in Nashville at Bitcoin 2020. We heard the rumors. They are true. It's been confirmed. It's in my inbox from official sources. Trump will be in Nashville this July 25th through 27th for Bitcoin 2024. You've heard that the Republicans are taking they're going full Bitcoin. They're going full crypto. And it's true. It's true. They're going full crypto. Trump is speaking at Bitcoin 2020. This is like massive, huge news. Bitcoin 2024 just turned into a Trump rally. I mean, this is remarkable. This is very remarkable. Trump 2024 will be at Bitcoin 2024. Now, you guys know me. I have been a Bitcoin and the monetary revolution evangelist for my entire career that you've known me. I've been called a scammer about it. I've been called all kinds of nasty things, especially actually from the MAGA crowd, because they didn't like the Bitcoin. They really like the US dollars. But now everybody's starting to figure out the US dollars, they have like satanic symbols all over those dollars. They're put together by a cartel that you don't even know. And it's used as a tax instrument. It's used as a tax instrument. The more you hold dollars, the more you can get taxed. People are starting to figure it out. They're starting to figure it out, which is pretty cool. So, of course, we have NATO is still here. Traffic is absolutely horrendous here in the districts. Absolutely horrendous. You got all these guys running around doing their thing, and it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. But they're all here. They're all doing their deal. Of course, you have the cartel, the banking cartel here. Everything's got to be funded, right? So you got to have the cartel here. It's no accident that they're all here in the same week. Trust me on that. That is definitely for a reason. They're all here together. So that is that's big news. They're transferring more arms to the Ukraine, fighter jets and everything else. If you thought that things might slow down a little bit, think again, because it ain't happening. It's not happening. Not right now, not with these guys. We may end up in a pretty well, I mean, I guess we'll see. We may end up in a pretty crazy situation. They really want to push these wars, because as well, kind of underneath, it's all about Ukraine. But then, wink, wink. Oh yeah, we're shipping, more bombs to the Middle East as well, to Israel. So it is all about war. Unfortunately, of course, the markets have responded. As soon as NATO was here, I said, well, there goes. Everything is going to bounce from here, I think. We do have CPI data, I think, coming out tomorrow. It's either today or tomorrow. Matt will have more on that. But that's always pretty interesting as well. How the markets respond. So let me just get my stuff here. Okay. Elon is kind of on, he must be implanted in his Neuralink. If you remember, Elon said at one point that he was going to do a news conference while he was on Neuralink. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And he hasn't done it yet officially. But can you imagine being hooked up to this? I mean, it's pretty interesting to me. I actually, years ago, I volunteered to be one of the test people for this Neuralink. I never heard anything back. But the idea of, this right here is already an advancement. I used to dream when I was a kid of having a device that told me everything, and now we have the device that tells you everything. It's just in my hand. So it's not going to be much longer until that is not here. It's just inside of us or hooked onto us or something like that. The nerve plant is just kind of right on the superficial part. And I know people are scared of that. I'm not scared of it. It is a natural progression of human evolution. And I don't mean evolution like that, not in a bad way. It's just we're figuring out how to use things better. Just we're figuring it out. We're going to make our brains are going to operate better. I'm excited about it. I understand people are excited about it. I don't mean to dive into it too much. I think that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Maybe we'll be able to save ourselves. Maybe we'll be able to start all these wars. But Elon says, are computers in charge? He says, are they in charge? And there's a discussion going on across the web. Make sure, guys, for the Bitcoin 2024 Nashville, use the 10% discount code to get the tickets. Impact Money. And if you see below my post on X, you see I get the link right there. Impact Money, that'll autofill for you. Father Carlo Maria Vignon calls all Jesus followers. Will you answer the call? Well, I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm going to play a video that an open message that he sent to President Trump a few months ago. I guess it was end of last year. And this is what he said. And this is pretty interesting. This guy, he's been now excommunicated by the Pope.
We live in extraordinary times. As each of us has probably understood, we find ourselves in a historical moment in time. Events of the past, which once seemed disconnected, prove now to be unequivocally connected, both in the principles that inspire them and in the goals they seek to achieve. One should speak about the role of that apparent majority in the Church, which is actually small in number but extremely powerful, and which, for brevity's sake, I will summarize as the Deep Church. The Church of Christ has nothing to do with those who, for the past 60 years, have executed a plan to occupy her. We know that the New World Order project consists in the establishment of tyranny by Freemasonry, a project that dates back to the French Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment, the end of the Catholic monarchies, and the declaration of war on the Church. We can say that the New World Order is the antithesis of Christian society. It would be the realization of the diabolic civitas diaboli, the city of the devil, opposed to the civitas Dei, the city of God, the eternal struggle between the light and darkness, good and evil, God and Satan. It seems quite evident to me.
So that was Father or Bishop, Archbishop, I guess he's been excommunicated now, Carlos Maria Vinano. And he has put out a call to bring together the faithful. Pretty interesting times that we have. I'd like to know what you guys think about that. Of course, if you're on X or if you're on YouTube or any of these LinkedIn where you can respond, I want to know what you think about it, and if you would answer a call like that, and if you do think that we're in a time of the battle of light and darkness. I mean, on one hand, we have, of course, Elon. I mean, it's all happening kind of simultaneously. We have Elon basically saying we're living in a simulation. He says, we may be living in a simulation, and that computers are running everything already. And then, I wouldn't say on the other hand, I would say, and then simultaneously, we have this call going out of this eternal struggle between light and dark, and God and Satan, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting to me. So I'd like to know. Let me know what you think about all of that, because there is certainly a lot going on in the world. And I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, Trump is going to Bitcoin 2024. I mean, come on, Bitcoin 2024. Let's talk about the markets. We have the great Matt Dixon here. Sir Matt, the great, how are you?
Good morning. Sadly, I missed some of that. Sounded really interesting.
It really was. I could just recap it just a little bit. So Carlos Vinano, or whatever, the Archbishop, he has put out a call to the faithful or to the followers of Jesus, saying that we need to fight together to against the New World Order. And of course, he's been excommunicated by the bishop. He's now called out that the Catholic Church has kind of been in bed with Freemasonry and this New World Order and everything else. It is pretty interesting. You know, my father was an Eastern Catholic priest, so I do know more about this stuff than most people, just by growing up. But this Catholic is a Jesuit, and Jesuits are actually not allowed to be the Pope. So it's pretty interesting that he's the Pope. And we are in these like crazy times. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty interesting. I thought last night I wanted to play it.
Yeah, no doubt we're in crazy times, as you say, and there's corruption at the highest levels. So who knows what's going on? But let's try to tie this together with Bitcoin, shall we?
Let's tie. I feel like it is all tied together. That's what I was in one of these chat groups. I'm sure you're in some of them too. These WhatsApp groups that they put us in, and there was kind of a heated discussion. Don't get politics in with Bitcoin and blah, this and that and the other. And I watched it for about an hour or 2 hours. I said, guys, look, this has always been about taking power back from the central banking cartel, which is in control of the government. It's always been political. Yeah.
Everything's tied together. You think things are unconnected, disconnected, whatever, but actually everything is interlinked. All part of a big jigsaw, and what happens it's just everything is connected. So Bitcoin is part of the financial system now, of course. We have the Bitcoin ETF, it's institutional adoption. So it moves like other assets. So we can look at many different assets, and actually there's some correlation there, it actually shows the maturity of Bitcoin, really. This is why I'm really focusing on Bitcoin right now. But the reason I say it potentially correlates or ties in with what you're saying, I looked at this morning, and basically from the very beginning of Bitcoin, when it costs next to nothing, I've started on the left-hand side. You can't see, but I started from effectively zero, and we had the wave one up to that first high that we had. You may remember it. We were close to 20,000.
Yeah.
That was back in, I think it's 2018, wasn't it? I think it's 2017, 2018. 2018 was the massive rally we had to 20,000. It was absolutely phenomenal because Bitcoin was supposedly dead many times over in the run up to that. But we got that run up to 20,000. Then we had that big, long held crypto winter.
It was long. It was like never ending.
It was, yeah. It felt like never ending. In the whole scheme of things, it wasn't so long. But yeah, it actually did. I mean, right until, we had the COVID. We went down in wave 2, then we got another small wave 1 up and a wave 2 down in the COVID crisis. So COVID crisis took us down with Bitcoin to around 4,000 level. So we can, again, very clearly see if I were to draw the smaller wave. So within the wave 3 here, we've got wave 2 and then wave 3 in red. Within that wave 3, there's also, in fact, I'll just put them on just to show you briefly. I think it's probably worth seeing, if it'll allow me to. So basically, there's a small, they're actually larger here, but there's actually a small wave 1 there within it. And then we have an ABC wave 2 to here. And then the next wave would be a wave 3, which is probably to here. And we could actually look at Fibonacci measurements, and I'm sure they'd be absolute precise. But we looked at Fibonacci the other day, an Elliott wave analysis, how amazing it was. Wave 4, and then this wave 3 is actually, there's, as we can now see, there's actually 5 waves. So this wave 3, larger wave 3 in red, is itself made up of 5 waves itself. So we can see there within it, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in blue. So that just shows this, how good Elliott wave is. All the waves have smaller fractals and smaller fractals. So it's like looking at those Russian dolls that I said. Every time you open up, you see a same picture, but just a smaller version and a smaller version. So within this wave 3 here in blue, you'd actually also see that broken down into 5. And every smaller fractal you look at, it's broken down, or even larger fractals, it's actually just a larger case. So looking on the large scale, beginning from the beginning of Bitcoin virtually zero, we've had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the all-time high that we had in 2021. I think it's November 2021. The all-time high at the time was around 69,000. I think it was 69,000, wasn't it, on Bitcoin. And then we had another long crypto winter in the form, very clear form, of ABC to the downside. Quite interestingly, the C wave didn't cross over this wave 1. So some people, but it did cross over this wave 1. So actually, in fact, that tells me that this is not a wave 4 down. This is actually a B wave down. So what we've got is actually a large A wave higher. And I'll put that in big here. We'll actually just make that even bigger, just to show. I think it's good just to show the workings of how these things are actually worked out. And then we've got B wave down here. And then we'd be looking at a C wave. And this is very, very important, because this is actually talks about that massive scale that we're talking about. So we've basically got an A wave, which is made up of 5 waves, a B wave made up of 3 waves, and a C wave made of 5 waves. That's what's called a 5-3-5 correction. So 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves. That's in Elliott wave terms known as a zigzag correction. Being a correction, it means it's against the trend. That means the actual, if this upward movement is against the trend, and we're talking big scale here, so don't get frightened yet. I think the market's got a long way higher to go yet. But because overall it's against the trend from the beginning of Bitcoin, then we have a trending move, which will be to the downside, potentially a massive crash. So all this stuff you just talked about, a potential crossroads in human history almost, could align very, very well with this. And then we look at this B wave. So we look from here, which was the FTX low back in November 22. And you can see we climbed massively, all-time high here of 74,000, which was around about the ETF launch, somewhere around about, I think it's just after the ETF launch. And then we pulled back in a very clear ABC again. Whenever you get an ABC pullback or an ABC, that's against the trend. So the trend in this smaller trend is higher. So we're looking now in this fractal, this C wave from B to C. We're actually looking at this wave, which is made up of 5 itself. So 1, 2, 3 up to the all-time high. 4 is an ABC correction. Then we're looking at a 5th wave higher. Now, again, using Elliott wave, and remember on Ethereum the other day, if anyone was watching the show then, Ethereum was precise with when you measured the A wave, transposed the B wave, looked at the C wave, that gave you the all-time low, not the all-time, but the the low point for Bitcoin, for Ethereum at the time, it was precise to within $1. And what I'm suggesting is here that we may have a projection for the all-time high for Bitcoin, which would be possibly the all-time high, or certainly for a long, long time to come, at 84,000. Now, we're currently sitting today at 58,000. Now, what's interesting is this move up from the FTX low is really encapsulated within a sort of upward trending channel. It's not a perfectly drawn channel. I know there's different ways you could draw it, but potentially, even if you just looked at this as a support line here, where we touched here, and we're potentially moving up, potentially we've hit a support here, and we're possibly pushing higher. We've got a nice ABC down, that's for sure. So I think that we could well push up from here. Now, what's going to push it is likely to be, if we're looking at a mover right now, something that's going to give the market impetus right now, we need some kind of fundamental data to push the market. And that data, I'm not saying it is, but could be the CPI data that's due for release today. We had Fed Chair Powell coming out with his testimony, which was reasonably hawkish. The market didn't react badly at all, to be honest. It actually didn't seem to take it seriously. Maybe we'll get weaker CPI data today. So the headline data, we're expecting 3.4%, and we're expecting that to hold steady at 3.4. Now, that's way above the target of 2%. So if we were to come below that, then that would be really positive for the market, I think. And then the core, which is excluding food and fuel, food and energy, basically, that currently is 3.3. They're expecting a reading of 3.1. So they are expecting that to come down. So that's getting a bit closer to target, but still way above target. But I'm just saying, if we were to undershoot those in terms of getting lower inflation than expected, that would give the market a boost. And that's really what we need here, because it does look as though the correction is most likely complete. Of course, it could continue a bit further. I'm just saying there's a reasonable probability that the correction completed when we touch this support line here. And as I say, you could draw it slightly differently. We could have just overshot the support possibly if we drew the line from here to here to here. But we're there or thereabouts, somewhere around touching support. And it's an ABC, so potentially we've got higher to go. So I'm actually reasonably hopeful that we're going to get a good rally in the market. And as I say, if we're at 58,000 now, potentially pushing to 84,000 would be the 100%. So that would be a little bit like the Ethereum measurement we had, but in reverse, looking for the upside target. Ethereum, we measured the downside target. So we may just touch on that briefly again, just to prove that. But basically, we measured the downside target and it got it precisely. Now I'm measuring an upside target for Bitcoin, just the opposite way around, but 100% measurement. So measure from 0 to the fifth wave here, transpose it to here, as you can see the bottom line here at 0, and it gives us a target of 84,000. Now that's a massive potential gain, 58 to 84.
That's a big move. That is a big move.
25,000. I mean, you're talking 40+%, getting towards 50% gain potentially. So that would tell me that most likely we're expecting to see interest rates beginning to reduce. So I think that most likely we're going to see, the only way they can do it is if inflation reduces. They cannot reduce interest rates without lower inflation. But I do think that if this chart is correct, and if it does play out to be exactly like Ethereum in reverse, as it were, then if the top is here, then it's potentially a horrendous crash around the corner. But it's some way away. I mean, I've targeted here. It's a reasonably quick ascent up. A fifth wave would be expected to be reasonably quick, most probably. If this is correct, we're looking maybe at January 25. I can't tell you precisely whether it's January, it could be February, it could be April, who knows? But it's looking most likely as though it's sometime first quarter next year. We may possibly expect a market-wide crash, because it won't just be Bitcoin, it'll be across the board. And that would correlate with that guy. I showed you one time some of his Elliott wave analysis. Again, not absolutely precise on timings, but he was saying that the S&P and the Dow and the NASDAQ are all approaching these high levels, which could, you know, result in a major turnaround for markets.
Yeah, you know, I was talking with we have our our pool here. A buddy of mine, he's retired now, but he was, you know, a longtime military guy and all this stuff. And yeah, he's just letting it ride right now. He goes, honestly, I'm like scared. He's like, it's like it's so much money, and it's like, you know, everything I plan to leave my daughter, and I'm just like, it's so high. He's like, but every time I go to it, I go and look at it, it just keeps going up. And yeah, markets don't just go up.
Yeah, we have that saying, which I've mentioned before, that markets, I think it's a very famous financial person said it, markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And that goes both ways. When the markets are going up, they actually continue to rise almost irrationally. So if you're betting against the market, it would be that the markets stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And it's very, very difficult to know when to cash out. At the moment, this does look clearly like an ABC correction down for Bitcoin. I've just opened it out a little bit so you can see the trend is definitely higher at the moment. This is just an ABC correction down. It's what you might call, if it continued, it could even be what's called a bull flag, expecting more upside. And the upside, the initial target for me will be 84,000. So if you manage to get into Bitcoin and DCA around these levels and maybe protect just below this long held support line here, then potentially there's a lot of upside. As we said, almost perhaps 50% to the upside. So I think it's premature. Don't forget, I mean, you'll never forget, because I know you talk about it every day, but this is election year, and they're going to do all they can to keep the markets well supported. You know, nobody wants to go to the polls with a market crash on their hands. They're going to absolutely fail. So they will do everything they can in their power to keep markets booming, as they have been for such a long time. So, you know, if we look at the SPX, we can see SPX once again, all-time high yet again. And markets keep rallying. They're defying gravity, as it were.
I mean, it's just on and on and on. I looked at the number this morning and I was like, my gosh. And then Dow futures, a little bit of it, I mean, but nothing really. I mean, gosh, where it's like, holy smokes. They just keep pushing money into that market. They just keep pushing paper money into that market. And
I do think there's higher to go, because we looked at fear and greed the other day. I actually posted it on my X feed yesterday at MD Trade. The fear and greed index on crypto is actually showing a reasonably robust fear reading right now. So telling us that actually, when everyone's fearful, that there is real potential for the market to go up. And people are fearful because they've seen Bitcoin correcting from 74 to 58. It even went below that. I think it's 54 or 55 the other day. So people are very fearful right now. But that's the time when a lot of people have cashed in. And we did actually see some fairly substantial outflows from the ETF and from Bitcoin in general. And that means that there's potential. If there's been outflows, there's potential. If the market starts to rally, if we get good inflation figures tonight, then there's a lot of people ready to pile back in. And it's that sort of thing that would push the market higher. But that is when we would look for divergence. Now, I haven't got the RSI indicator on today, but we'll perhaps look at that. If we start to rally up again, we would start to see divergence in the market, because you can be sure the professionals will know that we're probably in, if it does happen, the fifth wave up, which is the last wave of this final move up. So you start to see volume falling away. So the big institutions wouldn't be chasing this up. It'd just be the retailers thinking, oh, at long last, Bitcoin is taking off. It's just past the all-time high. It's going to go to the moon. Then you'll start seeing the news headlines. Bitcoin 100,000, Bitcoin 250,000.
So-and-so called it for 1 million. So-and-so called it for 150,000 this cycle. On and on and on.
And when you see that, the fear and greed will have swung right from fear right through to extreme greed once again. And it's when the fear and greed indicator is at extreme greed reading, that is all the retailers and smaller buyers effectively coming in. But you can be sure the institutions will have been pulling out and taking profits long before that happens. And that's why you see divergence, because you see overall volume going down, but prices are still being pushed up. So the institutions, a lot of them have already taken profit, or will be taking profit on this final little run up. They'll be starting to take money out. So that's SPX again. You can see all-time high. We'll just jump over to gold. Again, we're still in this corrective thing at the moment with gold, but I do think that we've got higher to go. And this was a target I put in place, which was using Elliott wave and Fibonacci projections of 2,500, just over 2,500. I mean, we're not a long way off it now, 2,380. We're quite close, but this correction may still not be completely over. If we get weaker inflation tonight, maybe we'll get a bit of a sell-off on gold short term. But I'm still believing that this is just a correction, and we definitely have much higher to go with gold. But even gold, in the market crash of 2007-8, even gold, got a very sharp sell-off. But before that happens, I think we're going to see new all-time highs on gold. So again, it definitely should be part of a well-diversified portfolio. The best way to protect yourselves, you talked about your friend. Where do you put your money? It's really difficult, but you need to be well diversified. You need to think about how much longer you've got before perhaps retirement or something. You need to very seriously consider government bonds, or maybe inflation protected government bonds, because, if trouble hits, I was trying to be polite of what I'm saying there. If trouble hits, then potentially, if we were to see stagflation, for example, you're still going to see elevated inflation with stagnant growth. What you want are these treasury, these inflation protected bonds, where basically the actual payment from the bond, the interest payment from the bond that you receive will go up with inflation. So TIPS, or treasury inflation protected bonds, would be the thing to go for as a large part of your portfolio. But again, it just depends on how much longer you've got to go to retirement, and you'd actually need to speak to a good financial advisor to structure your portfolio properly. But every portfolio should be well diversified. So I think that people should definitely be holding some gold. Maybe I believe they should also be holding some cryptocurrency, particularly including Bitcoin. The rest of the cryptos are actually getting a bit of a positive day in general. So we've seen dollar index is one that we keep a very close eye on, and we saw that move down in dollar index. So at the same time, we saw the move up in Bitcoin. So I just flip back to Bitcoin just to show you. We've had a bit of a move up here in Bitcoin, not so much. So the correlation has actually fallen out a little bit, but we are seeing that move down now in dollar index. So I think that if we get the good CPI, dollar index will continue to move down. So when I say good CPI, that means there's more likelihood that they're going to lower interest rates. That means there'll be less interest in people investing in US dollar treasuries, because if interest rates are lower, you don't want to put your money into US treasury bonds that are then paying lower interest. So right now they're a good investment, but if interest rates lower, you don't want to be putting fresh money into new treasury bonds. And so that's why there'll be less, the dollar will be less attractive. And so you see DXY fall here, and that would be positive for Bitcoin and crypto. So I'm really hoping and expecting reasonably soon we're going to get this long awaited rally. And it always happens when people basically are tired of waiting. And we look as though we've probably seen a potential turnaround in Ethereum. So Ethereum is one of those, well, it's a very, very important asset now. It got the green light for the ETF. Those ETFs are going to be launched very soon. And I think we're like Bitcoin. Remember, I said we've got a 1, 2, 3, working on a wave 4 correction. I think that the wave 1 was actually complete here, and we got some kind of correction wave 2. Then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 3. Then a big ABC wave 4 down. Now that may or may not be complete, but it's looking potentially complete now, because we've got these shadows down, these wicks on the candles down. That's meaning the price is testing lower. And every time we see the price testing lower here, then it's followed by higher prices. Here, followed by higher prices. Here, followed by higher. Every time you see the wick testing lower, it's followed by higher prices. And the same thing, the inverse, when you see a wick testing higher and failing and going down, you see prices decline after it. So these wicks are really, they tell us quite a lot about what's expected for price. And so when we saw these wicks down here, we could be looking for other indicators as well. But these wicks just alone are telling us that prices failed to go lower. It tried and it failed, and pushing higher. And now we see these solid green candles pushing to the upside. And there's real potential. Again, if we see weaker inflation tonight, then that's going to push, give Ethereum that impetus that it needs to push up once again, a bit like Bitcoin, potentially pushing wave 4. Wave 5 would be to much higher. As you can see, I've got labeled here. There's the previous all-time high. It could potentially just retest that all-time high. It could even sail through it. Who knows? But this, has been my long-term outlook. I'm thinking we're in ABC correction down, which is, it could be complete here, or it could be just about to complete. But I think it's most probably complete. And so after it, we're expecting this push up. I think that push up may well have started now. So we've got wave 1, wave 2, just beginning wave 3. So I'm just hopeful we get weaker inflation tonight and we start that real push higher. So whether it happened here or whether it's here, it makes little difference. Price, this is a sort of area to be DCAing around this level. And as I say, from the 0.786 to the 100% is where I would be DCAing over and over and over again at different levels in that area to build my position in Ethereum. So having built a position, now it's in profit. I'll be looking to protect that with stop losses in a small guaranteed profit, maybe just, even if it's $1 profit, I don't care then if the market falls out of bed. I take $1 home and I haven't lost any money. And that's the most important thing in trading. Don't lose money. It's more important than making money. You don't want to be losing money. So Ethereum is actually showing the same structure as Bitcoin in this time frame here. So we're expecting, the correction probably complete or thereabouts, and then much higher in a fifth wave. But following that, if we just scroll out a little bit, well, a lot, in fact, I'll just go into the weekly chart here. We can here potentially see, this could again be a 5, 3, and this could actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be the precise structure. So there's different ways to count it. And that's why Elliott wave is not the only key to the market. It's actually just a guide to the market. No single indicator is a key by itself. In fact, there is no absolute certainty. There are only probabilities. So this could be an A wave down, a B wave up, and a C wave down, which would be a massive C wave down, massive correction, just like I was talking about with Bitcoin. Or it could be a 5, an ABC 3, and another 5 to the upside, or the 3 could be complete here and 5 to the upside. There's a bit of uncertainty, but all I'm saying is I'm expecting in the next movement in the market, the next big movement should be to the upside. And I think we'll take Ethereum probably to the previous all-time high at least. So a bit like Bitcoin to 84,000, I'm thinking Ethereum from the 3,001 it is today to 4,008. So again, you're talking exactly the same magnitude of rise as Bitcoin. We're talking around the 50%-ish potential upside for Bitcoin. We're talking the same potential upside for Ethereum. So these are the interesting, attractive, volatile assets that you definitely don't put all your money into, but probably good to have some exposure to, because if the market rallies, these will rally more than the other markets. But obviously you don't put all your money into the most volatile asset. So that is actually the very same structure really as Bitcoin. So just to reiterate again, I'm expecting some substantial upside for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. We'll just flip across. They won't all be correlated, of course, but again, with I still think even with XRP, I think we've had some kind of correction higher, a correction down. So it's a sort of probably a WXY higher, a WXY lower, or it just could be an AB and then a C wave higher. So even XRP, I'm expecting a really decent rally to the upside and possibly to take us even beyond this. It's possibly beyond this peak here that we had when we got the SEC news, the court case news. So XRP could be one of the bigger gainers potentially. It's one of those which does tend to move. When it moves really heavily and strongly.
It moves.
So XRP is looking quite nice and positive there. Solana, again, it's been really constructive of late. I think we'll just get out to the daily again. So yeah, even Solana.
I have to do a segment as well.
You need to do a segment, yeah?
I do, yep.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll finish on this then. Looking like ABC down again, maybe complete, and massive potential upside for a final push up to probably 210 and beyond. Not quite the previous all-time high, but it's looking corrective after a solid move to the upside, which is impulsive, corrective downside. Then we're looking at massive upside. So once again, all fitting together, peas in a pod. It's all, you know, fitting together nicely. Whether you look at Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and others, we're looking at a decent rally in the market coming soon. So thanks for listening. Hope that's helpful. I think the big picture, that look at that Bitcoin, keep that in mind with your trading, because it's Bitcoin seems to lead the crypto world. So keep an eye on that. Thank you, Bruce, and thank you.
It does, right? It does. It always leads the crypto world. Well, thank you, Matt. It is great. As always, wonderful market report, and it looks like I mean, I'm certainly have taken my position. So let's go.
Yep. Let's go. Let's go to the moon. Thank you. See you tomorrow, Bruce.
See you tomorrow. So one of the things you know, we get to the pleasure of doing here in the Impact Money Show is we get to work with a lot of amazing people and amazing projects. One of those that I wanted to talk about today was Vigilante watches. Vigilante watches. These timepieces are American made, and they're beautiful. Actually, I have one. I have one right here. Check this thing out. I have been wearing it. This one now, mine has. Let me take this down for a minute. Mine has a Bitcoin right in there. Yeah, there you go. You can see that. See that Bitcoin right in there, right? So mine has a Bitcoin. Now this is Vigilante watches. Vigilante watches. Let me put that on a banner here. Vigilante watches. Now, same code, you can get 10% off on these watches. I'll pull this back up while I'm talking about it, or while I'm making this banner, and you can see some of the different watches that we have here. The gentleman Carlos he's a young guy, and he's really put together a great company here. They are very much inspired by Bitcoin, and he's a Bitcoin. He's in on Bitcoin. Vigilante watches. They can also do white label on this.com. 10% discount. This is exclusive Impact Money for the Impact Money Show viewers. 10% discount. Vigilante watches. Boom. And we'll update the ticker. There you go. VigilanteWatches.com. 10% discount. Impact Money. Now, this is one we're gonna talk about this one as we move forward. I am a big supporter when people are doing the right thing. So as well, we may be together at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville. Now this is and you see, okay, it comes in a nice box here. I'll pull this down again, and you can see the nice box that it comes in here. Coin Vigilante box. So Coin Vigilante is the brand, I believe, of these. Now this is the one for my wife. I got, okay, nice, pretty, and you see the Bitcoin on there as well. So nice. They are nice pieces, okay, nice timepieces, as well as good looking, pretty, great. They are great gifts, as well as if you want a piece of the monetary revolution. So if you want a piece of the monetary revolution, and as I mentioned here, designed in the USA, our team consists of engineers, graphic designers, and coin connoisseurs with many years of experience, excellent customer service, manufacturing, production, world-class manufacturing facilities, both domestically and internationally, to meet our customers' standards. My good friend here, Bitcoin Ben. Now, if you're watching on TV, I did talk about this on TV. I didn't do a show on X or LinkedIn yesterday because I was driving, and it was too much. I had to go back and forth from Pennsylvania, do the daddy thing. But you can see right here we have Bitcoin Ben is involved. And if Bitcoin Ben is involved, that was when I really knew, okay, this is all over. Okay, Bitcoin Ben is involved. You have a couple other people here that are MTS aviation models, Racket Point. Included in every order when you choose our service, not only high quality customized watches, but also comprehensive package of additional perks. Enjoy the benefits and dedicated project manager 2-year warranty. I mean, this is these are very nice pieces. They're very nice pieces, and I think it's really cool. It's really cool. So you can get a 10% discount. Use the code Impact Money. Here we go, white label branding. So what I would like to do in the near future is, of course, have our own Impact Money Vigilante watch. And I think we will do that as we move forward. They're just beautiful. They're beautiful, beautiful pieces. And, you know, watches are one of those things, right? They can say a lot about a person. I can tell you this. When I am on location around the world, I like to wear a watch. And I don't normally wear anything at all. Necklaces, watches, rings, any of that stuff. But when I'm on location around the world, I like to wear a watch because I want the people that I'm meeting with to know that I value their time. And so I want them to know that I'm conscious of the time. Now, realistically, I get my time usually from my phone. Although if I'm wearing a watch, I will get the time from the watch, like this Vigilante watch. But it is they're important parts of what you put together in order to make yourself you. So here you can put your logo on it. You can do all these things. This is some of the design stuff here. How it works, resources, how it works, one-stop service, manufacturing, what we do, Vigilante watches, very nice. And then if we look here, Coin Vigilante, look at this thing, look at this, beautiful watches here. This is the one I have right here, up close and personal. So you can get these. Go to vigilantewatches.com or Coin Vigilante to get this brand right here, Coin Vigilante. Beautiful watches. Beautiful watches. We're going to talk more about it. This is the one that my wife has right here. Very pretty watch. The other thing I like to tell people is that we should all support each other. And if we're supporting each other, obviously we got to buy from each other too. So American made, great company, wonderful, wonderful watches. Vigilante watches. So make sure to check them out. Check them out. I got it running across the bottom here. Let me just do this. I'm going to bump. I'm going to edit. I'm going to make it not a scrolling one. I'm going to save. I'm going to pop it back up here. Boom. So it's bigger. Vigilantewatches.com, 10% discount. Use Impact Money. Impact Money. Okay. So that's enough about that. Check them out. They're doing amazing things and they make great watches. Vigilante watches, Coin. I should also add on my ticker here. Coin Vigilante. Let me just add that here as I move forward. Vigilante watch, a 10% discount. Coin Vigilante.com, 10%. Bam. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's better. Okay. Moving on. We have the markets are really, they're poised for a big move here, right? You just heard us talking about it, and we are really 29.30 in the show. So we are poised for a big move up. Now, as you know, I am long on several main assets. Of course, Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is king. When you buy Bitcoins for $70, it's life-changing, right? So another one that I am very much super excited about and very bullish on is Polka Gold. Polka Gold. Polka Gold. And the reason I'll tell you why I'm going to explain why I'm bullish on it and why I think that Polka Gold is a good move. Now, when I'm looking at different assets to bring, let's see here. Save this background. Is that going to work? Let's see. I always want to give you an asset, one that I think is going to go up. Again, it's not financial advice and all that good jazz, but I also want to give you things and assets that are, there's a way out. Okay. It's like, we know it's a lot of gambling, right? You put your money in the market and sometimes you don't know what is going to happen. And I think we're all big boys and girls. We get that. But you do want a way out. And I think that what this asset does that is different than a lot of the other ones is this stuff is locked. It's locked. Okay. And so since the liquidity is locked, and I've talked about it a little bit here, but the Polka Gold, this was started by the reserve digital commodity for Polkadot. Okay. So Polka Gold, it was started by a group of whales. There we go. Polka Gold on the Algorand network. It was started by Algorand and Polkadot whales as to be a reserve holding for the Polkadot treasury. So when they started it, they put a bunch, and they wanted to bridge the communities of Algorand, which Algorand was started by, how's this if I move over here? Algorand was started by an Italian guy, which, a lot of this money stuff, it gets started by people that we don't really like if we knew them. And I kind of like this guy, right? And he's an Italian guy, and Algorand was started, and I think that's a great network for us to support. So Algorand was started by that. Polkadot was also started by people that I like. I'm a big proponent of Polkadot. But it was started by these whales, and what they did was they launched Polkadot, or the Polka Gold, and instead of just distributing all of the Polka Gold to everybody, or having a mining, which is what Bitcoin does and what some of the other ones do, which is a great way to distribute. The thing about mining and cryptocurrency is that you have to pay something in order to get it, right? You have to pay something in order to get it. So if you have to pay something in order to get it, in theory, you're not going to sell it for nothing. But a lot of these tokens these days, they come out and they just distribute all the coins to people, and maybe people didn't work for them, maybe they did, I don't know. But they didn't pay for him, maybe, or whatever, and so that it's just easier to rug, as they call it, or dump the price. So what Polka Gold did, and the founders are anonymous as well, which I also think is very interesting. So what Polka Gold did was they locked the entire amount of liquidity, the initial Algorand that they put up for it, which was a considerable amount, I think $250,000 or whatever it was, and all of the Polka Gold supply, no tokens to anybody, all of it was locked up in this DEX. Okay, so all of it has been bought. Anything on the market. So they're on Coinstore, which you can buy them on Coinstore, but you're really better off just to go over to the DEX. Polka Gold here, Polka Gold. We can look right now. They're having a nice day on the market. Let me just share this again. Here they are, Polka Gold. Now, with the liquidity locked, okay, up 7%, almost 8% on the 7-day. Today, they're up almost 3%. As we tune out on the month, you can see here slightly down on the month, but everything is only 3% down on the month. The other assets are down way more. And of course, from the launch of the token, actually up over 3,000%. Okay, this moved up to 50 cents or so. Let's call it 50 cents. So you can see a good 4 or 5x move upward to that high. This was launched on, it was launched in November, it looks like, of 2023. So a little over, not a year, but anyway, end of 2023. So I am bullish on Polka Gold. You can get it on CoinStore. I do like CoinStore. You're probably better off on their DEX, which is, let me just look here, Google Polka Gold DEX. Polka Gold. This is their website. Here we go. Get P Gold on a DEX. Yeah, here we go. Share this tab instead. Here we are. This is the DEX, and I just want to show you as well. Just make sure I'm still sharing my screen here. Nice movement up here. $469,000, and this is what they have in their the DEX. I think that market cap is just for the DEX. I'm not totally sure on that at the moment, because it was 1.1 on CoinMarketCap. You see here they are number 2. They're number 2 in the DeFi system of Algorand. So, in order to get some of this, you're going to want to go over to Para Wallet, parawallet.app. Use your mobile phone. You can set up the wallet here. Either buy some Algorand on, I got to switch tabs. Here's the Para Wallet, P-E-R-A wallet. Get some Algorand either from Coinbase, or you can buy it. You can buy it on this Para app. But just keep in mind that if you do want to use a credit card to buy it on here, that you're going to need to use a VPN. So keep that in mind. You're going to need to use a VPN in order to do that. Okay, the light just die on me here. There we go. All right, so Polka Gold. Make sure to check it out, guys. Polka Gold. I am long on Polka Gold. I think Polka Gold's great. Not financial advice and all that good stuff that I am supposed to tell you. Now, more of the exciting news. I guess this guy needs to charge. I'm going to let it charge here. Some of the most exciting news period is the fact that the big guy, Trump, is going to be at Bitcoin 2024. This is just absolutely one of the coolest things that could happen. And I can tell you, as somebody that has been in this space for a long time, it was one thing when Bitcoin went to, I remember when it went to 12,000. It was really something else, because all those people who were giving me a hard time over the years, and what is Bruce doing and all this stuff, all those people, they had to bite their tongues and be like, Bruce was right. Bruce was right. And that was something else. And really, yeah, I guess that really happened when we went to 12K or so. When we went to 20K, it was like, oh, wow, Bruce was right. Of course, nobody is even, even my neighbor, he bought 10 Bitcoins at $600. And I remember he was complaining to me at one point when it crashed. But he paid out of his house in the end with those Bitcoins. And so it's been life-changing. It's been life-changing for a lot of us, right? Now, the other thing about Trump getting involved with Bitcoin is the fact that this really shows how big this has gotten. Like Trump, when he was in office, he was like, Mr. US dollar. He didn't like crypto. and all this stuff. And then now you see him where he is embracing crypto. The Republican Party, I mean, it's like part of their platform. It was a pretty smart move to bring all of this, because all of this really, it's pretty much libertarian, really. I mean, I was a libertarian before Trump ran. I did vote for Bush, and then I was so upset, Bush W. I voted actually on the Hanging Chads back in whatever year that was, back there in Palm Beach County, Florida. That was my first year voting. I voted on those Hanging Chads. I watched what happened, and I couldn't believe it. Thought, this is craziness. Mohammed Samir. Yes, sir. Hello to you, my friend. So I thought, yeah, this is crazy, right? And then you had like the Supreme Court came in and, of course, gave the election to Bush. Could have gone either way very easily. I mean, there was just so much crap going on there. It was just crazy to watch. And then, Bitcoin 2024. This is the one I wanted to hear. Bam. So after that, and then, of course, they did the Patriot Act, took away all our rights, took everything away. I thought, well, I'm done with this pretty much. So I didn't vote again until Trump ran. And when Trump ran in 2016, Trump said a lot of the stuff that we weren't allowed really to say over my life. But we had to, the country had changed a lot, right? It changed a lot. And we had kind of become second-class citizens. Not really kind of. We'd become second-class citizens in our own country. Still kind of are. With the DEI and the affirmative action and all this stuff. Like, people like me were like the last people to get hired, the last people to be considered. I mean, if you try to get a government job, they won't tell you. And even like they'll tell you, oh, no, we don't hire people based on that. But then they'll tell you straight up that, you hire those people first. It's like in the same breath. No, we don't do that. And then, yes, do that. So as a product of that, when Trump came out and he started talking about the stuff that we weren't allowed to talk about, of course, I, like many others, responded to that call. Once he got in, I wasn't very happy with a lot of the stuff that he did, but he certainly was and has been a lot better than the other side. And anyway, so it's been a heck of a ride. But being involved in Bitcoin, I mean, even in the last year or two, I had people reach out to me, Bruce, you ruin your credibility when you have Bitcoin. And this is like Trump people. You ruin your credibility when you have Bitcoin in your profile. And they don't get it. Bitcoin is political. It's about taking the central banking cartel that controls the countries of the world and taking them out of power. And that's what Bitcoin's all about. And now, of course, you have the central bankers who come in and they bought a lot of it because they realized they couldn't stop it. They wanted to stop it at first. And once they realized that they couldn't stop it, then they really started trying to buy it all. And that's one of the reasons why you see the price is so high right now. You should come to Nashville, though. Nashville, Tennessee, Bitcoin 2024, July 25 through 27. Get your tickets today at 10% discount and use the code IMPACTMONEY. Use the code IMPACTMONEY, and I'll put a, let me see here. I'll put down below the stuff here. Let me see that link. I got the link. I'll put it below. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're watching on LinkedIn or something, you can see it, or on YouTube. But I'll put it below my. Once I'm done here, I'll put it below. Maybe I'll do it right now. Our broadcast, and then I'm gonna. Here we go. Oh, it's in my post already. There it is. So follow that link and register today and come see us in Nashville. Come see us in Nashville. It's a very, very historic event. Donald Trump speaking at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee, July 25 through 27. Absolutely amazing moment. It's an amazing moment. Donald Trump is by far the crowd favorite. Now, whether or not they're going to let him win, who knows? And I got a little bit of I got people upset with me because I said that this SAFE Act was a bunch of baloney. We're trying to show that the Democrats want to cheat. Well, of course they're cheating. How do you think they got the last guy in? But whatever, fine. So I after like 8 years of being the plot being that we're gonna expose everybody, I'm pretty sick of exposing everybody. Like, everyone's exposed. Let's do something about it. I think that what you should do is stop the magic electronic voting machines and stop the mail-in ballots. How's that? The illegals are already supposed to not be voting. Non-citizens are not supposed to vote. It's like the legislation that they were going to do for the border, and Trump says don't do this legislation. But whatever, Trump's pushing this one too. Maybe they need a small win. Whatever their stuff is, I was raising heck about it, and then whatever. Sometimes people just don't like to hear it, so whatever, it's fine. But Trump coming to Bitcoin 2024 and being part and parcel of the monetary revolution is massive. If we can get this guy in office and we can get him to close the Federal Reserve and stay alive, then we have a chance. If we close the Federal Reserve, we can also stop the income tax, federal income tax, which is completely illegal. There's actually a big movement right now to not pay income tax anymore. I haven't really gotten involved in it, but it's getting to be a bigger and bigger movement. People just, look, I don't have to pay these taxes. It's illegal to pay these taxes. Apparently, unless you're a federal worker living in the District of Columbia, you are not required to pay income tax. Of course, they have the guns. And they'll come and use them if you don't, right? That's why everybody pays them. But if everybody stopped paying them, what are they going to do? It's like I said about coming to Washington, D.C. Everybody's scared. Oh, my gosh, we're going to get arrested if I come to Washington, D.C. Well, if everybody comes to Washington, D.C., you're not going to get arrested. What, are they going to arrest you all? But every time I come out and say that, everyone says, oh, he's a Fed. He's a Fed. I'm like, Jesus, I'm like the farthest thing from a Fed. Not farthest thing, but... Get your tickets today. Come see us in Nashville, July 25 to 27. I don't know if you've been to Nashville before. Nashville, Tennessee. This is a beautiful place. It's the Nashville is Music City, USA. Music City, USA. Nashville. Use discount code IMPACTMONEY. Get your tickets today. We're super excited about it. It's really going to be something else, guys. It really is a very historic moment. If we can get Trump on board with closing the Federal Reserve, then, it's on. I sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that he gets in and he is this change that we need to save ourselves. Because right now, you basically, whether you realize it or not, you just keep getting taxed more and more and more and more and more. And they're going to keep diluting the money supply. And then basically that's their biggest tax on you right now. Every time, so NATO is here. You have as well. You have Zelensky is here, and he's meeting with Speaker Mike Johnson, who has been an absolute horror show. And that means break out another 100 billion. Okay. And then NATO's here as well. And all of these places, when they say that they're shipping aircraft carriers, or when they're shipping fighter jets, like when Denmark says, okay, fine, or these other countries say, okay, fine, we're going to give our fighter jets to the Ukraine. What that means is that you and me are paying for new fighter jets for Denmark, or new fighter jets for whatever country it is that's sending their older fighter jets, their F-16s, to Ukraine. That's what it means. I don't know if you know that or not, but it means that you and I are paying for new fighter jets for those countries. Every time they talk about, oh, we're sending more this, that, and the other, that's what they mean. That's what they mean. Okay, guys. It means that you're on the hook for the bill of sending new armaments to those countries. So then they're going to do another $100 billion bill. Every time there's a $100 billion bill, that's approximately $2,000 of cost to you and to your family, right? A family of two kids and a wife, or whatever. A family of four, it's about $2,000 that cost you. I've been saying that July they're going to come and ask for another $100 billion. Netanyahu is on his way as well, if he's not already here. I haven't heard anything about him being here, but he's going to be speaking at Congress. So that's going to be probably the big push. The big push. Pull on everyone's heartstrings. It's funny too, because Israel, everybody gets emotional about Israel. And I guess I get it. It's in the Bible and, all this stuff. But, this country that they started 75 years ago is not the Israel from the Bible. It's a different, it's like a new corporation or whatever that they started. And it doesn't mean that even if you think, all right, it's incarnate of the old Israel or whatever, it doesn't mean that the guys in charge of it aren't bad. Look at the guys in charge of our country. You know what I mean? So don't be emotional about it. Look at are they doing the right things right now? They're killing a lot of kids over there. I mean, we're supposed to be protecting kids. Anyway, I guess I don't want to get into it too much. They're going to want more money, and they're a very rich country. So they're going to go for another 100 billion. They're going to push it through. And I think that they're going to really push for Ukraine is the one they're going to push in front of it, because that is also, Russia bad, Russia bad. Remember, Russia is not part of the central banking cartel. So you got to think of things in as far as like a car. What is the central banking cartel in control of? So the central banking cartel is these families right here. The Rothschild tax is inflation. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn, Loeb, Lazard, Israel Moses, C.F. Schiff, and Stillman are the families who own the Federal Reserve. People say, oh, no, it's not owned. Yes, it is owned. What do you think? What do you think, that those families started a bank and they don't own it? Of course not. Of course it's owned. It's owned by them. Those are the families. Those are the main families who own it. Actually, it's almost worth playing the video. This one is about how it got started. I guess I won't today. I won't do it today. But these are the guys that we need to get out of here. And if Trump, if he's got the fire, if he's, the way that we've fought back so far against these families who control our banks, control the media, control our Congress, That's why we can't get anything done. That's why Mike Johnson is a total lap boy for whatever these guys want. They have unlimited amount of money because they can print it. We gave them the right to print the money. They can print whatever they want. There is no auditing or anything that goes on. They control the country since 1913. It's a big problem. It's a big problem, guys. And if Trump is going to be our champion to fix it, I think that's absolutely amazing. I hope so. I hope so. The fact that he's coming to speak at Bitcoin 2024 is major. It's major. Put this back on here. I'll tell you, I'll do this. Then I'll make this one. Can I do both? Yeah, there we go. That's my scroller. Make sure to use impact money. All of the codes are impact money, right? Impact money, impact money, impact money. That's our referral code. Now, speaking of some other cool things here, I talked about this one the other day. We got the Tangem wallet. So if you're looking for a safe way to hold your coins, nice offline wallet here. Boom. Tangem. Same referral code. Impact money, get yourself 10% discount. Tangem wallet. Tangem. Check them out. You get 3 cards, and then you can put them in different places and make sure that you never lose your crypto. You can store Bitcoin, Ethereum, all kinds of different tokens on there. It's pretty awesome. Make sure to check them out. Do I have Tangem? Do I have one for Tangem yet? I don't. All right, I'm going to add them soon. Bitcoin 2024 Nashville. It's going to be awesome. I did want to talk a little bit more about what is going on with the Bishop Vigano. Bishop Vigano. He's the Archbishop. He has been excommunicated for calling out the deep state. And of course, I played a little bit earlier the letter that he, or the video letter that he sent to Trump. It's pretty interesting. He also, here's an Archbishop Vigano has been right. Yes, here we go. Here he is again. Archbishop Vigano has been right on target in the past 4 years, speaking out against globalism and corruption in the Catholic Church. For the past 4 years, we have been witnessing a global coup d'etat in which a financial and ideological elite have succeeded in seizing control of parts of the national governments, public and private. Here, let's listen to him.
Dear friends, for 2 years now, we have been witnessing a global coup d'etat in which a financial and ideological elite has succeeded in seizing control of part of the national government, public and private institutions, the media, the judiciary, politicians, and religious leaders. All of these, without distinction, have become enslaved to these new masters who ensure power, money, and social affirmation to their accomplices. Fundamental rights, which up until yesterday were presented as inviolable, have been trampled underfoot in the name of an emergency. Today, a health emergency. Tomorrow, an ecological emergency. And after that, an internet emergency. This global coup d'etat deprives citizens of any possibility of defense since the legislative, executive, and judicial powers are complicit in the violation of law, justice, and the purpose for which they exist. It is a global coup d'etat, because this criminal attack against citizens extends to the whole world, with every very rare exception. It is a world war where the enemies are all of us, even those who unwittingly have not yet understood the significance of what is happening. It is a war fought not with weapons, but with illegitimate rules, wicked economic policies, and intolerable limitation of natural rights. Supranational organizations, financed in large measure by the conspirator of this coup d'etat, are interfering in the government of individual nations and in the lives, relationships, and health of billions of people. They are doing it for money, certainly, but even more. So in order to centralize power so as to establish a planetary dictatorship. It is the great reset of the World Economic Forum, the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. It is the plan of the new world order in which a universal republic enslaves everyone and a religious of humanity counsels faith in Christ. In the face of this global coup d'etat, it is necessary to form an international anti-globalist alliance which gathers all those who want to oppose the dictatorship, who have no intention of becoming slaves to a faceless power, who are not willing to cancel their own identity, their own individuality, their own religious faith. If the attack is global, the defense must also be global. I call upon rulers, politicians and religious leaders, intellectuals and all people of goodwill, inviting them to unite in an alliance that launches an anti-globalist manifesto, refuting point by point the errors and deviation of this dystopia of the New World Order, and proposing concrete alternatives for a political program inspired by the common good, the moral principles of Christianity, traditional values, the protection of life and the natural family, the protection of business and work, the promotion of education and research, and respect for creation. This anti-globalist alliance will have to bring together the nations that intend to escape the infernal yoke of tyranny and affirm their own sovereignty, forming agreements of mutual collaboration with nations and people who share the principle and the common yearning for freedom, justice, and goodness. It will have to denounce the crimes of the elite, identify those responsible, denounce them to international tribunals, and limit their excessive power and harmful influence. It will have to prevent the action of the lobbies, above all by fighting against the corruption of state officials and those who work in the information industry, and by freezing the capital used to destabilize the social order. In nations where the government is subservient to the elite, they will be able to establish popular resistance movement and communities of national liberation, including representatives of all sectors of society who propose a radical reform of politics inspired by the common good and firmly opposed to the neo-Malthusian project of the globalist agenda. I invite all those who want to defend a traditional Christian society to meet together in an international forum to be held as soon as possible, in which representatives of various nations come together to present a serious, concrete, and clear proposal. My appeal is made to political leaders and to rulers who care about good of their citizens, leaving aside the old system of political parties and the logic imposed by a system enslaved to power and money. I call the Christian nation together from east to west, inviting head of state and the healthy forces of institutions, the economy, labor, university, healthcare, and information to join a common project, disrupting the old system and putting aside the hostility that are desired by the enemies of humanity in the name of divide et impera. We do not accept our adversaries' rules, because they are made precisely to prevent us from reacting and organizing an effective and incisive opposition. I call upon nations and their citizens to align themselves under the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, the only King and Savior, the Prince of Peace. In hoc signo vinces. Let us found this anti-globalist alliance. Let us give. It is a simple and clear program. And let us free humanity from a totalitarian regime that brings together in itself the horrors of the worst dictatorships of all time. If we continue to delay, if we do not understand the threat that looms over us all, if we do not react by organizing ourselves into a firm and courageous resistance, this infernal regime that is establishing itself everywhere will not be able to be stopped. And may the Almighty God assist us and protect us.
That's something else. I haven't seen that before in my time. And we kind of had a good pope, I think, when I was younger. And then we've had these guys. And I know I've mentioned it a number of times. This pope is a Jesuit. He's not allowed to be a pope, but people don't talk about it. Archbishop Vigano has pointed out that he is a Jesuit. That, in general, doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but he's not supposed to be the pope. And the fact that this pope is calling for Christian people of the world to come together and form an anti-globalist alliance, I think it is really important, and I think you should answer the call. I reached out to him last night, said, I am answering the call. I hope you do too. It's always a pleasure to do the show, guys. We will be back on your TV sets in a few hours. Cheers.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.